afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Carson City Cultural and Tourism Authority Board of Directors. I almost said CC's. On Monday, August 21st, 4 p.m. Can we have the roll call?
Yes. Renee Plain. Present. Jonathan Bulware.
Here.
Sandra Nagel.
Present.
Karen Aboud.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. I'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Don't think we're going to have any public comment, so we'll move on for possible action and approval of the minutes, May 23rd, 2017, fiscal year 2018 tentative budget hearing. Then June 27th, 2017, June 27th, fiscal year 2017 budget augmentation meeting, and July 10th, CTA board meeting.
I'd like to state as matter of record that as far as the May 23rd special meeting minutes and also the June 27th special meeting minutes, the first one being the tentative budget hearing, second being a budget augmentation. Both of those, there is a NRS requirement that you adopt the minutes 45 days or at your next meeting. The first one in question, the May 23rd, the special meeting, the minutes were not available for posting at the July 10th, so we are bringing them for the first time to the meeting today. And the June 27th special meeting, because we did schedule or reschedule our meeting from the 11th to the 21st, this is the first opportunity, but it has exceeded the 45 days, but it does meet the requirement. So just as a matter of record.
Thank you.
I move to approve the minutes of May 23rd, 2017, the tentative budget hearing minutes, June 27th, 2017, the budget augmentation meeting, and July 10th, 2017, the board meeting.
Have a second? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Possible action adoption of the agenda. Anyone see any reason to change the agenda in any way, shape, or form? Okay, hearing none, then the agenda is adopted. Possible action approval of the adjusted CTA fiscal year 2017 budget report.
All right, we'll go over the fiscal year 17. Once again, this is accounting period 13 of 2017. This is through July 31st for expenses and through the end of June for revenues. On the revenues, these are not final revenues. The final numbers will come in once we work into our audit. There are still two of the small properties, although I don't foresee any significant changes. There is the possibility just a small amount of revenue will continue to come in. So going down from page 2 of 5, if you see this is 100% lapsed fiscal year 17 with fiscal year 17 ending June 30th. Our revenues, you can see the original revenue projection that was budgeted, which is in column 1. You have $1,867,025.25. We did an augmentation and we did change our projection for fiscal year 17 at the end of June, coming in at 2.1 million. And as you can see, the fiscal year actual, we're already over 2.2 million, coming in at $2,210,544.38 in revenues. So that represents 105.2% of our augmented number. Next, you've got the addition of carryovers for expendable revenue. We always have a line item for expendable revenue at the bottom, and once again, that's consistent. We're over 103.3% of our augmented projected number, which is column 2, coming in with expendable revenue of just shy of 3.5 million. Any questions on page 2? Okay. Going now to page 3 of 5, the top section, once again, these will finalize with the payments It's all reflective on the room tax revenues with a little bit of revenue still coming in. These will be finalized, and you'll see an end of the fiscal year report at our next meeting. But all of these will reflect right at 100%. It's reflective of just room tax collection. Now, starting into expenses, you've got the salaries and wages, employee benefits, bottom line. You can see that we originally budgeted $593,342. We actually reduced that amount at our augmentation meeting at the end of June with our projected fiscal year 17 at $582,954, and current and final numbers is 96.5%, coming in at $562,000. So once again, staying consistent over the last 4 years, revenues over 100% and salaries and benefits under 100%. Continuing on page 4. The rest of the expensive going down for professional services. The only red flag item that topped that 100%, and we knew that coming in, was the augmentation that we had made for the contractual agreements, but we knew the bottom line under professional services would still remain under that 95%, and it did come in at 94%. The property services came in at 80.6% for the end of the fiscal year. We spent 78.7% of what was budgeted for other services. Once again, this is kind of the heart of what we do with special events, printing and advertisement, trade shows. So although the contractual services is certainly one of the higher single line items, the overall budget for the 054s, which are the other services, make up the majority of our expenses, and that came in at 78.7% once again. Operating supplies, we spent 48% of what we budgeted. I do want to make sure that we note that the $80,000 we set aside for trail development working with Muscle Powered is still in that line item. It will carry over. So $80,000, so the reflection still should be closer to about 65%, but it's certainly still well under what we had budgeted. Continuing into utilities, 86.6% of budget. Bottom line for all services and supplies, we spent 71.7% of what we budgeted. The augmentation budgeted number was $849,000, and we spent $609,069.29. The last page is the worksheet for breaking out the Department of Taxation report. So I was fairly confident the last 2 months when we went into the augmentation that this is where we'd end. I ended up with certainly more revenue once again than we expected, and we were able to not have a lot of year-end purchases, but I can tell you that when Kyle goes over his marketing report later, we certainly didn't fall short on effort of getting the word out, and I don't think we wanted to spend money just to spend it. And we did a great job going into the end of June with our marketing campaign, and I think that'll be evident in Kyle's numbers. So any question on the budget? Okay, that's it.
Any questions, comments? You're up.
Okay, can I?
Absolutely.
motion?
I'm waiting for you.
Okay. I move to approve the adjusted fiscal year 17 budget report as presented through July 2017.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. All right, possible action, approval for ratification of the CTA statement of P-card report for June 2017 and accounts payable checks for July 2017.
All right, we'll start with the CCVB P-card report. And once again, this is dates between June 3rd and July 4th, 2017. Just a few that I've highlighted to go down. If there's any questions on any of the line items, I can certainly address those, but we usually go over those that are a couple of the highest on the page. Going down, you've got the Carson City Off-Road Production Drop Media. That was a video project that we're working on. It is part of a grant project. Kyle's working with a video production group, and they've done 2 different videos now, one in Carson City during the Carson City Off-Road, and another one that was out with Ely tied to their Fears, Tears, and Beers event. And you'll see that here, I think, on the next page. That's a Nevada Commission on Tourism project that we're working with for the single-track adventures from Carson City through Ely down to Caliente. It's about a $30,000 project, and we have to have it complete by June 30th of 2018. Continuing down, the next one would be the Konica Minolta. This is the new printer, the lease. They're going to be picking up the Rico. We've got the payoff on the Rico taken care of, so they should be picking that one up. The new machine is amazing, should cut down on actual costs and increase our quality and what we can put out to our event promoters and sponsors. Continuing now on to page 2 of 3. There's some expenses here that were tied to some of our contractual obligations for Epic Rides. We are obligated to provide rooms for staff of Epic Rides coming in. We're also obligated to provide stage and sound for the headliner. So the first one, the $2,500, that is one of the payment 2 of 4 for the stage and sound required for the event. Continuing down, you've got another payment, which is payment 3 of 4 for $1,500. The next one, $5,000, you go down about halfway down the page. Once again, that's the Ely video production. So it's a little more than just the production. It was also Kurt Gensheimer, who we're working with, who's really facilitating this grant for Kyle, was out with Kyle also in Ely working with their Visitors Authority, with their stakeholders, and with their trail builders. But this cost is for the production of that video component for Ely. Continuing down, looks like the final one is, once again, I think the final payment for the stage and lighting requirements of $4,150 on the bottom of page 2 of 3. On the next page, going down now, you'll see a couple of the costs of the rooms. The Epic Ride staff has always asked to get rooms from the epicenter out, so from downtown out, so that they're within walking distance of the event, and that's, you can see we have 2 properties that met those needs, and we did provide staff rooms as we have the last 2 years. I have talked to the Epic Ride staff, and because of the convenience of other properties in town, we are going to expand that umbrella next year and reach out to a few different properties. Continuing down, we've got what should be the last payment on the Rico copy machine, which is the $1151.22. Next one, the vital signs. We replaced all of the Carson City stickers, the vinyl bumper and window stickers. I think we ended up getting another 5,000 stickers. Nevada Magazine is a grant-funded project. This was in conjunction with the Great Basin Native American Artists as part of the contract where we were required to buy advertisement for the event through Nevada Magazine. So that's the final payment for that grant project. And that's it. If there was any that stood out or I need to address, let me know. All of them do have reference and a justification on the far right column. Continuing down, next you've got the payable checks. So this is the GMB Fund 74742. These are dated through from 7/21 through 7/28. The second one down, the 40,000, that's the credit card payment for the ones that were the credit card charges approved at our last meeting. Continuing down, the 75th anniversary sponsor, that's for the Capital City Gun Club. They did their 75th anniversary and had 2 different youth shoots again, bringing in, I think, 300 kids at each one of the shoots that we sponsored. So pretty impactful event. You've got the July rent and reissue of lost checks for $14,187. Going down, I think you've got the standard contractual. And once again, there's a couple of heavy ones. You've got a $13,985. That does include the development of, I think, 3 different videos, 2 of which Kyle will show today. Continuing down, $29.58 for the Carson Street Splice for Edge Communications. The last one, Sierra Nevada Media Group, on the bottom, you've got $4,999.98, and that's a targeted marketing campaign that Kyle's working on. He'll go into a little bit more detail on that later during his report. And that is all of the end of the year fiscal year 17 expenses. If there's any questions.
Any questions? No?
I move to approve the ratification of the CTA account activity statement and P-card charges for June 2017 and the accounts payable checks for July 2017.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you. Non-action items? Director's report.
First, we'll go over the transient occupancy lodging report for June 2017. Once again, we'd hope that we would still see those trends, and we've seen some even dramatic increases going into June, and it looks like July is going to be another record-setting month. Going through the top five properties had revenues coming in at $1,379,668. That's an increase of 24.4% over 2016, which reflects an increase of just over $270,000. Top 13 properties that, once again, does include the top five, had an increase of 22.8%, coming in at $385,536 above 2016, coming in at just shy of $2.1 million. Bottom line, total, we collected $2,171,860.22 in room revenue for June of 2017. Now, once again, that will change. I am expecting just a small payment from two of the properties that typically have just 28-day plus, but occasionally they do have a payment come in. That reflects a 22.58% increase over 2016. I took a look regionally just to see where everybody else is trending. Douglas County as a whole, which would include the Tahoe properties in Douglas County, their June revenue was up 6.3%. It looked like 4.43% for occupancy and 5.1% for Virginia City, and Reno was very consistent, right around that 5 to 6% also with their numbers, so we're trending much higher than the rest of the region. Going down on calendar and fiscal year 2017 versus 2016, so reflective of the first 5 months of 2017, we're up 24.34%. That's an increase of over $1.8 million. Fiscal year, which we operate on a fiscal year as a governmental agency, so from July of last year through June of 2017, we're up $2.6 million. That's an increase of 16.35%. Looking at the regional comparisons, they're a little bit lower than even their monthlies, coming in anywhere from that 3% to just over 5% for the rest of the region. Now, I did have a meeting today. We're meeting with the Department of Transportation, and we being both the director of South Lake Tahoe Visitor Authority and the president CEO of the Tourism Authority for Douglas County. We're working on their 10 to 20 year strategic plan for transportation and how that impacts tourism. And Las Vegas is seeing a little bit more of an increase, but once again, they're not in double digits. So I am going to be working with Nevada Commission on Tourism through September to really break down and identify all of those, all of the data markers and statistics for room tax revenue occupancy for all of the rural communities. I'm hoping to have that back certainly by our October meeting, but if not, we'll be doing that with our final audit report in November. And I would be surprised if we're not certainly the highest within the entire state. Continuing down, you can see the comparisons between 16 and 15 and 17 and 15. RevPAR was bottom line 31.4% above, so revenue per available room jumped from $44 up to almost $58 for 2017. The average daily rate, top right, you can see that our average daily rate increased 13.2%, 14.3% for top 13 properties. Trailing 12 was up 16.35%, and the trailing 12 as compared to 2015, once again, that's an LCB comparison, we were up 24.1%. Occupancy reports on the back. Occupancy came in at 69.2%, bottom line for all properties. Top 5 came in at 82.9%, top 13, 73.5%. And you can see the percentages compared to 2016 with marked increases for 2017. Any questions? Impressive. I know having talked to many of the properties as they're coming in and paying their July. You're not going to see anything different for July. In fact, most of them had record-setting Julys. So we're going to continue to trend. Chris and I will be working on our forecast for the 2018. I know that for 2016, when we set our budget, I came in, I went back through the minutes. We had projected a 3.2%. I had stated that I was comfortable, would have been comfortable up to a 6.5%, but also stated that I wouldn't be surprised if we went double digits upward of 15%. We surpassed that. So we will be a little conservative going into next year. I do think that we're kind of topping out on that market value now. The mid-level properties are going to play a big role in where that RevPAR and where the room tax revenues continue through 2018. So we'll be looking at our augmentation next May through a microscope and making sure that we're not trending too high in our projections. But I think everything is showing us that we certainly are going to continue to see the increases. Okay. Next, the strategic plan. I've got the layout. I'll just kind of show the board, but I do not have the plan. It'll come back in draft form. All the data's in, worked with all the stakeholders. I'm going to work with 2 more board members just to make sure that we go over the data. Got the addition of the SWOT analysis, measured all our strengths, weaknesses. We've got our strategic plan in place. We've got directives. We've got performance measures in. I look forward to bringing it back to you, hopefully for an approval in draft form for a final approval. Once again, we're going to look at implementing this on January 1 of 2018. It's a 5-year strategic plan. I have met with a couple of the stakeholders that did not have an opportunity to participate, and those are more around the economic development offices. And I think I am going to tweak a little bit of some of the collaborative effort that we need to do moving forward in looking at identifying opportunities for that second-level retail opportunities in our community. Certainly in need, and they're looking for a partner, and I think that partner will become us in the next 5 years. So I'm going to add that to the strategic plan, and it'll come back to you next month. Grant update. Once again, the one grant, we have 2 grants we're moving forward with right now. The Single Track Adventure, which is the grant that's a statewide grant where we're facilitating the marketing collateral and video for the rural communities along Highway 50, our eastern gateway. Mark is looking at moving forward with the Reimagine Space project. I know he's plugging away and still getting all of the policies and procedures in place, and that certainly needed to take precedence. So I think we'll see the movement forward with both the bike rack project, which is not a grant project, but in addition to that, you'll also have the Reimagine Space moving forward and have some impact in 2017 calendar year. Nevada Magazine, that'll come later in the year. Ghost Walk Video, once again, later in the year. That's based around their schedule. So I'll continue to give you grant updates every meeting. Now, if there's no questions of me, I'll move it over to Kyle for a marketing update. Thanks.
All right, thank you. So funny story, originally when this meeting was planned on the 14th, I was going to be in Alaska, so I had started working on a video presentation for this, and then the meeting was changed. We were already about halfway through the project, and while I was in Alaska, I got the first cut. It was 52 minutes long. Wanted to be like a wee bit shorter, so the second cut got it down to about 30 minutes, and the third cut got it down to about 25. And at 25 minutes, all of the excitement had been cut out at that point in time. So I took that information, put together a PowerPoint presentation this afternoon, first day back, and hopefully I can get through this in less than 25 minutes and make it worth not showing the video. So pretty much this is fiscal year in review, or as I call it, life between Carson City Off-Road, because that's about what our fiscal year is right there. So a lot of things go down over the course of the year, and you know, when we travel around to other communities, there's nobody that touches the amount of content that we put out as the Tourism Culture and Tourism Authority. So the first part here is going to be talking about all the content that we've created. Of course, we contract with the Nevada Photo Source or Momentum. That's Kat Allison's organization. She says she has about 24 professionals that she works with. We work closely with about 6 of them. So I'm going to go through and give credit where credit is due as well to all the people that played a role in this to be able to produce numbers like Joel just went over there. You know, we could pretty much stop at that and know that this is working, but it's really fun to celebrate kind of what we've accomplished as a team over the last year. So Last year at my presentation, at my year in review, I said 2016-17 was going to be the year of video content. So that occurred. We had 22 video projects this year, including the muscle-powered Hail the Trail, Downtown Matters, which I'm going to show one here in a second. All the videos about Carson Off-Road, a Blinky Man video, including action sizzles for all the Ride Carson City. There was interviews going on. I mean, there was a number of projects that came out. So definitely put out a ton of video, and the one that I'm going to show here is the most recent one that we've been working on, the food and beer.
Taquerias, some of the best Italian food in northern Nevada. Great Thai food. One of the greatest farmers markets in the area here.
They're asking where their food comes from, right? Like, that's the most important thing. They want to support the places that support the local farmers and ranchers. Culture, it's arts, it's food, it's drink, it's beverage, it's everything. Carson's kind of unique. It has a lot of great events going on. They're really putting a lot of family-focused events in place here. Kind of got to follow where the movement is going. There's a lot of great breweries, distilleries.
We're all family-owned, family-run, small-town spirit. You're on a first-name basis here.
Really welcoming community. Everyone's really friendly and welcoming. Fun place that's really excited about all the good things that are going on.
All right, so that's an example of some of the storytelling that we do through video. And like I said, this, we've got an arts and nightlife one that is coming out. Essentially what we started telling stories through written content now has been put into visual and through video. So those don't just live on our YouTube pages, those go out in newsletters, those go out when we're at conferences and we have videos playing in the background. So we have actually put out a ton of video, and so that would be Brad Horn and Cody Blue that have done that. Kat Allison's our main photographer. We put her on 52 photo assignments this year, resulting in 1,200 final images. I just put a few up there, but it shows the diversity of our community. Through written content, Terry Vance is our main writer. We had her write 53 pieces from full-length feature stories, profile on local people, artists, places, press releases, as well as writing content for the First Nation Focus and some other periodicals that we needed content that we wanted to make sure that there was enough quality control on them. So 53 pieces this year from Terry. Our design work is mostly Tara Burke, and so Tara designed 144 items last year. That was 34 posters, 18 tickets, 5 brochures, 6 booklets, 30 ads, 11 rack cards, 15 postcards, 15 business card size handouts, 5 logos, and 7 other things that she didn't even know how to categorize. But these are things that we do for community organizations, events. As you can see below, there's a couple examples of some of the printed pieces that Tara's designed. We also put out 2 30-page visitors guides, the winter, spring, and the summer, fall. And that was with Sean Nebeker, who came in and helped with the layout of that one. And those pieces, again, when you travel around to other places and you see the stereotypical visitor's guide, which is a listicle and ads, and those people look at what we're doing, you feel really proud of what we're doing here and how we're telling the Carson City story. We took out 30 print advertisements last year. Tara designed those. I put out some of the Ride Carson City ads, but mostly, it was Nevada Magazine ads, Tahoe Weekly, American Legion, Road Traveler Magazine, Adventure Sports Journal. Essentially, anybody who did an editorial on Carson City, we like to support them by taking an ad out as well. And in this last year, it was mostly Ride Carson City and heavily train and mountain bike is predominantly what it was. So getting into the social media, we did see growth across all of our platforms. We currently have 3,773 followers on Facebook. And from this time last year, that's only 600 followers, but the trend that we saw was because we promoted mostly events on our Facebook page, that you would get a lot of people coming in and liking your page leading into an event. They would follow it for the week. And then when the event was done, they would drop off. So the amount of people that actually came onto our page is much higher, but the overall increase over that time was 600. And our main spikes are right around the Carson City Off-Road, Wine Walks, and Nevada Day, as well as the Silver and Snowflakes Festival. People really come around at that time too, trying to see what family holiday stuff that they can do. Our post reach averaged about 1,000 per post. That doubled since last year. And our highest organic post, and again, all of this is organic, our highest was a reach of about 8,000 people. The thing that's the most important about that, though, is you can reach a ton of people, but if nobody's engaging with the post, it really doesn't stick. And so this is the part that I'm actually most proud of, is you look at what an acceptable engagement rate is for Facebook, and they say it's 1%. If you're at 0.5 to 0.9, you're doing all right, but you should probably mix it a little bit. And if you're under 0.5%, then you need to completely revamp your social media strategy. We averaged 4 to 6% across all of our posts, and our highest engagement rate was 13%. That was a Carson off-road post, but it's not uncommon to have double-digit engagement rates. So what that does is just reinforces that the content we're putting out is not just, throwing stuff out there, trying to see what's going to, who's going to bite on it. It's throwing quality stuff out there, like our videos, like our written pieces, like our events, and people are engaging with it. So I'm happy that our engagement rate is well above average. On Twitter, we've seen a little bit more steady growth. So we've got 3,300 followers right now. That was 700 new, and that has been an average of about 2 new followers a day. So every time we make posts, new followers come in. So instead of the spike and drop that we see on Facebook, Twitter's more of a steady climb. We've made 2,800 tweets total, and we average about 13,000 impressions a month. So since Facebook's about 1,000 impressions per post, our monthly impressions are more about how many posts you make over that period of time. So they can fluctuate anywhere from 18,000 to 30,000 a month, depending on how many posts we're making. Instagram, I've always professed my love publicly for Instagram, and I'll do it again. I absolutely love this platform. We've got 1,800 followers. And have done 609 posts since the beginning. Our top post, which is the one shown right there, which is a shot from Boulder Gateway, has been our most liked post at 187 likes and 9 comments, but we usually average about 136 likes per post. And so that equates to, right around 4,000 impressions a week, which is up 200% from 2016. Just recently, I started using the Instagram stories, which if you're not familiar with those, it's essentially Instagram's version of Snapchat. You make a post, it only lives for 24 hours. But the benefit of that is that you can make multiple posts. You can post as your day goes on, and you're not blowing up your main news feed, but you're able to put a lot of content out there, and people that know to follow it, they can get that Carson City story, and then you just post, the good shot, on Instagram. What we've been seeing is the impressions have been equal to what the main post on Instagram has been through stories, so right around 150 impressions per post, and that's video, pictures, boomerang, live, so we've utilized all of those. So it's essentially like having a second social media platform that you can put a lot more content on. And so that's been really fun. I feel like it's doubled our reach on Instagram. And Instagram just recently switched to a predominantly women-based group of followers. So that's now Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. YouTube is actually our only platform that is still male-dominated for the demographics. So the Ride Carson City campaign's been going on for 2 years. This year we saw it grow even more than it did the year before, but it is coming to an end because you can only kick a can down the road for so long before you have to reinvent it. But the nice thing is that we've got a lot of content around it. The hashtag is still being used, so it's now people are trained to use that hashtag. We're going to continue to use that hashtag, but we're going to move forward from this point on. Over the last 2 years, there have been a little over 600 posts made with the Ride Carson City hashtag. I've only accounted for 89 of those posts. So we're talking about over 500 posts that were user-generated from people who got the message to tag Ride Carson City and to go ahead and use it. And of course, during the Carson Off-Road is when it was used most. But if you go onto the landing page that we created for it, or go and search that hashtag, you'll see that it was people skateboarding, riding horses, train shots, everything we were trying to promote through the campaign, which was the diversity of all the things that you could ride. And of course, we did a little merchandising as well. You could see the Ride Carson City image, which went on hats, shirts, and stickers, which of course, we can't keep in the shop at all. And the stickers are going like wildfire, and you see them on people's cars driving down the street. So it's really kind of cool to see that first kind of push of merchandising around a campaign kind of take on. So what I want to show is one of the action films that Kat and her crew created. It's Ride Carson City, but this is the action film about skateboarding. This was a project we did with Wheelhouse, which is an absolutely awesome group. And that kid is rad. So actually, Wheelhouse came in to promote one of their things one of their events that they had coming up, and I'd asked the guys if they had seen that video before and showed it to them for the first time, and immediately,
Hey Carson City, it's Cody Blue with Nevada Photo Source, and we're out here today at the Muscle Powered Bike to Work Week celebration.
Yeah, stop. Just, yeah, totally. They got a ton back there. Okay. Okay, but those videos, each one of these sizzles is going to live on the web page specific for that discipline right there. So whether it's the skateboard page or the train page or the mountain biking page, also they're intended to be used as commercials in between television spots. So sending that off to Mountain Resort TV Tahoe or any of the other places that need video content to kind of fill in the time. They're 40 seconds long, which is kind of like right in the sweet spot for that. But you're going to see one for every single Ride Carson City discipline that comes out. On YouTube, we've got 58 videos. The videos aren't predominantly male. I don't know why I put that right there, but our viewer base is predominantly male. So the most popular videos that we have on our page, the first one is the original Visit Carson City promotional video that we put out 4 years ago. It's got 3 times more views, and it makes sense because that has always been in the highlight position when new people have come. That's the first video that they're shown. The second most popular video was the new Blinky Man 17 video that was created this June. And a very short amount of time, but it rose, right to the top. The third most watched video is Always Something Eventful. Now, this was an old video that was created prior to us even coming into, even taking over here. So that's had, over, 10 years to get views, but it's slowly kind of like chipping itself down to the bottom of the list. The 2017 Carson City Off-Road Montage is the next, and then the Muscle Powered Trails video was the next most popular. So you can see a lot of the videos that we've put out this year, specifically this fiscal year, have moved right to the top and are taken over. I'm actually going to play the off-road montage while we talk a little bit about epic rides. There's been 4,800 views for over 6,300 minutes of watch time on the Visit Carson City page. So people are exploring and visiting and watching. And then we're also still on Pinterest, Yonder, Snapchat. But there's very little activity, and Vine actually is no more. So there's no activity on Vine anymore. And that was a YouTube-owned platform that we were on about a year ago. We did a little bit of social media advertising, only to the tune of about $1,250, but that was for 26 social ads, boosted post, and promoted post. Mostly the ads were taken out to complement campaigns that we were doing with Travel Nevada. And so if we were doing, an insert down in Southern California, then we had Facebook ads that were targeted in Southern California towards the people that we were trying to reach, and same with the Bay Area, Vegas, Northern California, all of the above. So none of the ads really were just, again, throwing stuff out there or trying to buy page likes. It was, complementary with the campaign. All of this work is to try to get people back to the website. So this is really the meat and potatoes right here. In 2017, we had 13,000 page views a month average. So that's up 200% from same time last year. 5,500 unique users a month, which is up 85% from last year. So it means people are coming back, and they're staying on the website longer. So we're averaging over 2 pages per session. It was like 2.4 pages per session. That's up 97%. The bounce rate is the only thing that decreased, so it went down 35% to 59, and so what that equates to is people spending about 45 seconds longer on our website, either watching the videos, reading the articles, things like that. The main reason I would equate to that is just because the website does constantly change, the photos change, we're always putting stuff up on it and driving people back to it. So the fact that it's not a static website like some tourism sites are, I think is why we're seeing longer use on the website, is because of the content on there. The top countries, of course, this is the United States. You can see the states that are coming, the most, and then of course Canada, UK, the Philippines, and Australia. And that's kind of interesting because it's not the same countries that Travel Nevada promotes internationally. So it's interesting to see, efforts that we're making in certain countries not paying off, but other efforts that we're making minimally in other countries, people are going for it. So it'll just be interesting to kind of make decisions in this next year knowing that information. Some of the new features for this last year: completely went in and redesigned the look of the post. They were pretty just words blocked on white pages. Went in and made photo backgrounds for them, cut up the text a little bit so it read a little bit easier. So all of the posts have been completely redesigned. Go on to the Get to Know Carson City, and you can go in and kind of see how they're done. I think they're a lot more visually appealing now. We redesigned the history page, and that included some fact-checking, rearranging information, eliminating information, but also working with local historians to get some new stories, some stories that we haven't heard before about Carson, about the train, and get those out there as well. So the history page has been redesigned. It's a little bit easier to digest all of that information. We redesigned the Blue Line page with all the content that we had created, the Ride Carson City landing pages, the new museums page, and the galleries and murals pages were just some of the few bigger pages that had been designed over this last year. The most popular pages on the website, no surprise, it's the home page. But then the flow kind of goes to about us getting here, then to the newly designed history page, then to things to do, which is a drop down of all the summer and winter activities, including the arts and museums, and then to the calendar. And of course, the calendar is a main goal of 2017, to try to redesign that one and make the information, again, easily digestible and more easily navigable. As Joel said, we've been doing a remarketing campaign with Sierra Nevada Media, and that is, again, hitting out our drive markets and trying to figure out what are they interested in more. Is it the history aspect in our trains? Is it the golf and sports? Is it the mountain biking? And trying to see, who's biting with what, but we're targeting it to the train ads are going to people who just visited a museum or a train area in that area. So they are very targeted, and what we're finding is getting anywhere weekly, and it kind of skews the numbers a little bit, but anywhere from 25,000 to 35,000 impressions a week with this remarketing campaign specific to golfers or train enthusiasts or bikers. And there's going to be more information along with that, but I just got back, so I haven't had a chance to touch and talk to Brad yet to really get kind of what the latest info is on it. But before I left, it was really taken off. The Visit Carson City app is still going. I give James Solanoa credit for this one. He works, tirelessly on this one. He's enhanced the shopping page. He's put all the new photos the cat's taken in this last year. We rearrange it constantly to match the seasons and which events, so that people that are coming in for specific things don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom. And of course, there's putting events on there all the time as well. We've got 2,248 Android users right now, 4,500 Apple users, and in this last year, we had 2,329 new downloads since June of last year. But what we actually see is that it's got the same pattern as Facebook. So we have people coming in and downloading the app as they're coming into Carson City, and then as they leave for the event or that's done, then they go ahead and remove that app from their phone. And that's understandable because we've all got limited space on our smartphones. But they are coming in, they're using it for a week, and as you can see, we get about 46,000 sessions a year. So it is being used, and so the question was asked last meeting, is the app still happening? Are things still going on with that? Well, yeah, they absolutely are. So you can see we have a number of people who have it on their phone permanently, and the trend is that visitors come in, download it, use it, and then go ahead and make space on their phone for the next adventure. So there is the app. Did want to talk about the Silver State update. We had our 1-year anniversary this year, so that is the free project that we do with Mountain Resort TV Tahoe. We do not pay a dime for this other than the time it takes to organize it. But they are the full power TV station up in Tahoe, satellite 21, cable 21, 7 or 11. They reached 267,873 households. And this is actually, I didn't know that their span went actually that far, but it's Eastern Sierra from Reno all the way the 80 corridor to Elko. Then they go south into Mineral County, and then all along the Western Sierras from Alpine County to Lassen County. So that's Placerville all the way up to almost Chico. So really the coverage that they get is pretty sweet, and it's to spread relevant Carson City content. You know, we've done everything from events that were coming up to new businesses that have opened up, to the trails, to the waterfall, to the train. It's every other week that we do this, so we're constantly coming up with new content. And so we've done 38 episodes so far. The average watch time on our YouTube page is about 2.5 minutes out of the 3-minute show. So we are getting, you know, when they get put out there, people are watching them all the way through. Carson City Today, which was a project that we did for a half-an-hour special once the downtown was reopened, on their YouTube page has more than 400 YouTube views, but it's viewed on their television station about 7 times. And they keep saying that as they need content, they continue to run that episode because it's kind of timeless information. So that's cool. It keeps getting played over and over again. We did also contract to have them run the business videos that the Downtown Business Association had made through their project with the Abbey Agency. But we went ahead and made sure that they were aired on that television station for 8 weeks once those were created. So those were individual business highlight spots that focused on the person that was the business owner, but ultimately talking about the food scene or the nightlife scene or the shopping or whatever it was. So just making sure that those got out there as well. And that's kind of our policy for all of these videos that we create is you just don't create them and make a Facebook post and then put them on YouTube. They got to keep recirculating over the course of the year, you know. So that's what we're making sure to use all of our media outlets for that. There is also social shares aspect to Mountain Resort TV Tahoe, so they put it out on their YouTube page, but we also put it out on our Facebook page, reaching anywhere from impressions of about 600 to 1,200 for every post. But then the engagement rate is really high because it's locally centric content. So the DBA shares it, and the business or the event that was showcased also shares it as well. And a lot of these businesses, they don't have any content at all. So then it ends up going up onto their YouTube page, and it ends up, so it gets legs. The newsletter, we send out about 4 quarterly newsletters to 14,000 people on our email list. That's up 4,000 people from last year. And I say usable because we got a lot more email addresses that were not usable. And that's the case when you go to conferences or you get people, that are trying to get some kind of freebie, you end up bouncing a whole lot of those. So we did go up about 4,000 usable addresses. We have an open rate of 16%, which is above the industry average for tourism, and a click-through rate of 1.6%, and that's also above the industry average for tourism. New for this year, we've got our weekly stakeholder emails called the Capital Insider. One might have gone out while I was gone. I'm not sure. Not yet. Stay tuned soon. But that is going to be the every other week email that goes out to lodging property owners, restaurateurs, you guys, board of supervisors, anybody who needs to really kind of be in the know of what's happening week after week. We're going to be utilizing MailChimp for that. And then also been working on a better welcome letter for our new email addresses. To kind of welcome them to MailChimp, but essentially it's to get them to go ahead and open one of our emails so we don't get sent to the spam folder, which I feel like a lot of our stuff does ultimately end up in the spam folder. So it's kind of a little trick to try to move to the front of the list there. We did a number of events this last year, but I'm going to talk about the Epic Rides Carson City Off-Road really quick. And of course, we have Greta Van Fleet playing in the background, but I'm going to have to turn that down because I'm going to talk over it while the slideshow's going on. So the event grew 34% from last year, and I believe you guys have this up here as well, so you can kind of follow along as we go through it. But you can see how many attendees we had this year. 36% of them was their first time to Carson City in general, which I think is great. We had a number of returning people as well, but it's great to get the new faces in there, and that's what we're looking for. So 36% of them came from Colorado, 37% came from California, 9% came from Arizona, and 26% came from Northern Nevada. So that was 16% from Reno and 10% from Carson City. And it actually worked out pretty good because our local riders podiumed, I believe, in one of the events, and some of the kids in our high school team finished at the top of their races, and so the local riders showed really, really well. They did raise about $22,000 in fundraising for local organizations, so that would include Muscle Powered as the top recipient, but it also includes the Boys and Girls Club, the Nevada Interscholastic Cycling Association, TAMBA, Nevada State High School League, the Tahoe Rim Trail, Carson City Sheriff's Search and Rescue, and then the Boy Scout Troop 341. So not only is it good for our economy, but it's also good for our community in regards to the fundraising that they bring in. They are a media juggernaut, so on their Instagram, they have 10,000 followers, and the week of the event made 500 posts with the hashtag Carson City Offroad. Absolutely huge, which it equated to, it doesn't say how many impressions, but overall, since we've been working with them, there's been over 1,000 posts that have used the Carson City Offroad hashtag. So Instagram was on fire the whole time. I was up there with a lot of their marketers, with competing Instagram story posts going on. And then their Facebook, they've got 15.5 thousand followers. There was 2.8 million impressions, and their engagement rate was 6%. So again, way over that 1% engagement rate. Our contribution during the week of the event, we made 34 posts during that time with a reach of 44,000 with an engagement rate of 7.4%. So played a small role in that media blitz that was going on. Their estimation is an ad equivalency of about $86,600, reaching about 7.2 million people. The ad equivalency last year that we came up with through the software that we were using, half the attendance at the event, it was about half of what we saw here. So about half of 7.2 million. I think the ad equivalency was about 47,000. So the event doubled, and that doubled as well. Oh, and I outran the video. Okay. You can see there was over 1,000 room nights booked, and their estimated economic impact was $2.1 million. Oops. Okay. Almost done here, guys. I just went ahead and listed some of the other businesses that we've worked with and organizations for their events as well. So this again would be designing their websites, designing their posters, their save the date cards, making social posts for them. The nice thing is some of these organizations that we've helped, we've kind of been teaching them how to fish on their own, and they've been picking up their marketing slack. Particularly the Carson City Gun Club, which has been an amazing turnaround since the first time we worked with them. But it's great helping these organizations out with the marketing aspect of it, so they can really focus on putting on a quality event, which is what they should be focusing on. So just wanted to show kind of the community outreach that we have in our events. We did hit up a number of conference and trade shows this year. My personal favorite, Sea Otter Classic, as well as Interbike, where we were named the #1 mountain bike race in the country. As Joel said, we were down in Caliente, Nevada, Marina Del Rey Buyer Show, Rural Roundup, Governor's Conference on Global Tourism, Santa Rosa, that actually is Santa Clara Adventure and Trade Show, as well as stopping in a number of communities just to spread the word. Pass out flyers, talk to people, just advocate for Carson City. We did have more FAM tours this last year, which is great to see that Travel Nevada is bringing us more FAM tours. We had Go West in April, so that was a week of buyers from all over the world. And of course, we toured them around the museum, the Blue Line tour, had Mary Bennett come in and do a ghost walk for one of the groups, Stewart Indian School, the hot springs, the art galleries, as well as McFadden Plaza. And then we had one wedding FAM, which we brought to Battleborn Social right as they were opening up. And that was kind of a fun, intimate, small little group that we got to interact with. Final slide is just the upcoming projects. So like Joel said, we've got the Highway 50 single track adventure, which we've been working on with Drop Media and Kurt Gensheimer. We've got the Ely video almost about done. The Carson video is being worked on. We've got a meeting with Eureka this week about their trail development, and then there's already a group going out to Austin this fall to help do some trail clearing with the Toyabe Crest Trail, and that also is the video crew as well. Working on that interactive mapping project with the points of interest, the businesses, as well as our mountain biking trails and the ability to do some itinerary building. And then working on this project management software, because as you can see, we've got a lot of stuff going on and always could be more efficient with the way we work with each other. So that's something that we've had on our goals for this last year, but you're going to see come into play this year. Probably doesn't, you guys aren't going to hear a whole lot about it, but we're going to be a lot more efficient. We're going to be able to put out a lot more content with a lot more ease being able to have this software. So that's what's on the horizon. Is there any questions?
Great job. You've been busy.
We've all been busy. It's been a huge effort.
It's just impressive to see the scope of how this has completely evolved. It's amazing. Thank you.
How much impact does Epic Rides had on Ride Carson City campaign, the mountain bike part of it?
The mountain bike part of it, you know what, our local riders took off with it, but during the Ride Carson City campaign, you saw, I'd probably say equal to the amount of local riders that were posting with it. But whereas there was only local riders last year, we had a lot more people, and actually some of the businesses, some of the Road magazine that did an editorial on us, and we took out an ad. They went ahead and started using our Ride Carson City every time they were putting so you just started seeing a lot more people pick up on it. Epic Rides, the organization, is committed to that hashtag. They put it in every single post about Carson City. It's been included. So I think that's where you've seen, their reach has started to see a lot more people from the Bay, as well as us promoting it down at Sea Otter Classic too. So
as far as we know, they're pretty happy with the location, right? And their experience here.
Yeah, they're ecstatic. When you look at their reach, when we talk about that ad equivalency, the media reach, and we talk about 7.2 million in reach, that is significantly higher than all of their other events. The media is excited about what's happening in Carson City. I can say that of looking at all those measurables, the only thing that was a little unfortunate this year was the change in the course. But overall, I think that everyone had a positive experience. One of the benefits when you talk about working with a group, a juggernaut of outreach, when you're talking 7.2 million impressions with Epic Rides, that reaches Velo News, it's CycleNews.com, Mountain Flyer, Pink Bike. This 7.2 million is not only nationwide, it's all over the world, and we just simply don't have that capability, nor can we spend the money to do it. But they're not having to spend the money to do it because of the collaboration and the event that we've put together. They're very happy. They are looking at expanding. In fact, Velo News just did a feature story on Todd Sadow, and his goal is to completely resurrect the mountain bike scene worldwide and have every one of the mountain bike pros coming in to the Epic Ride Series, having a series of 7 to 8 races, and that's the entire pro series for mountain bike pros, and I think he'll have that done in the next couple of years, which may force us to kind of juggle around our date, because we certainly want to continue to be, if not the last in the leg, one of the last in the leg when you're talking about, $100,000 purses. We need those pro riders kind of vying for that purse and coming to Carson City. So no, in fact, when we worked through the economic assessment that Kyle talked about, I brought in Nancy Paulson. Nancy Paulson and I worked with Todd's group last week, and just making sure we nailed down exactly where the tax would go. We have a complete breakdown percentage-wise of tax that goes to state, tax that goes to local, to school district. So we have a very big breakdown that we can provide, looking at trying to bring that out once again, maybe late September. Fantastic. They're very pleased with their partnership with Carson City.
So Joel, will you present this to the board?
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
So much information. It was awesome. I love this information. I mean, we put these together too, so it's a lot of work that you did, and I really appreciate it. And can I have a copy of it so I can look at it?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, I was writing notes down, so I've got I ran out of room, so thanks.
So one thing to keep in mind when we bring back the 5-year strategic plan, one of the goals that was set in place through our SWOT analysis from our stakeholders was the fact that they, being local businesses, local lodging properties, Western Nevada College, Nevada Commission on Tourism, you can see everything that we've done to get the word out to our potential visitors. The one thing we've never focused on is putting that information out to our local residents. I don't think that there's an awareness of what we're doing, the magnitude of what we're doing, and the reach that we have. And part of that strategic plan for the next 5 years is to make sure that we show those videos local. We show what we're doing to the rest of our community, and they can see the engagement and why we're seeing such significant increases in our room revenue. So we'll bring that back when we have the strategic plan, but don't forget what you saw today. Okay. All right. Next up, we'll go to the cultural update from Mark.
Hello. Unfortunately, mine doesn't have music like Kyle's, but I'm going to do the best I can here. I'm going to start off with this. This is going to be a reference point throughout my presentation today. This is a long-term project that I've been working on. As you know, this year's Nevada Day Parade, the theme is arts and entertainment. I'm very involved with it. If it was math, if the theme was math and science, probably not as much. But because it's arts and entertainment, I want to make sure that we make some new tradition, get some new people in town. So this is a save the date that I created. October 27th, I'm putting together a one-night only event, ticketed event, a new source of fundraising for public arts here in Carson City called the Capitol Collage. It's going to be a cross-section survey of the diversity of the artists that we have in the state, where they live and what they make. That's going to be held at the Boys and Girls Club, and I'll speak to this later. Of course, the next day, we're trying to make a sort of a stay and play package for that weekend. Is the 79th Annual Nevada Day Parade. So not only am I working on creating this collage event, making sure that elements in the parade, such as soliciting our arts organizations and artists statewide to participate, securing grand marshals and parade dignitaries and finding art cars and that sort for them to ride in, but also making the program cover. So there's a consistency in the arts and culture brand here in Carson City. This is the a program cover that Nevada Day Inc. had put together a couple months ago, and I felt that we could probably add to it. Looks a bit static. And I really wanted the cover to represent arts and culture, showing the hand of the artist, and not only the hand of the artist located in Carson, but really statewide. As I speak to board members on the NAC and artists and organizations on our monthly Muni calls, there seems to be a divide in the state in the arts and culture areas, and using our responsibility as a capital to create some cohesion. This is a draft I put together really quick, just cut and paste, before or after. This highlights a new mural at the BAC that the DBA commissioned, Bryce Chisholm. When I took this picture, it wasn't finished yet. These umbrellas that you see in the foreground is really a project that Cynthia Brenneman here spearheaded. These are all hand-painted parasols. When she learned that the theme was arts and entertainment, she rallied all of Carson City. There's probably about 8 of these floating around now in Carson City that are all hand-painted that will be in the parade itself. I wanted to reach out to the Siren Society in Reno to put an aerialist on the cover, and the circus font that you have there is just basically a placeholder for an artist in Las Vegas who's going to hand draw, Nevada Day Parade 2017, a parade of arts and entertainment, but trying to really showcase artists on the cover as opposed to graphic art stock imagery. So this was after our last meeting here. There was probably about 40 of these parasols on the floor, beautiful. This is Kim Van Zyle's. I mean, these are really exquisite works of art here. And these are our local artists. So the Carson City Arts and Culture Coalition that Cynthia is a part of have been recruiting artists to carry these in the parade, and then they were kind of struggling with how to make a float. This is a 35-foot art car that has not been in the parade before, that I've recruited them to be on board to carry the Grand Marshal and 25 of these parasols that Cynthia and her friends are making. So we're going to have the float. It's going to have elements that are on the cover. That's going to be carrying the Grand Marshal Michael, one of the Burning Man founders of the parade. Okay, so now here we are. Artistic bike rack update. All 5 contracts are out. They've been countersigned and returned to me. I'm getting them signed by Laura Rader here. The artists have been allocated a location. In my mining of information that predated me arriving here, I was able to find $2,000 that had not been allocated, so I've given each one of these artists an additional $400 towards the fabrication fee, just to make sure that these first 5 are impactful. Art bike sponsors that opted for a 4x6 bronze plaque in lieu of an art bike rack. Those have been ordered. They're being manufactured in Minnesota, and they should be dropping in about 3 weeks. And I've already met with Public Works to establish how and when those will be installed on our sidewalks. These for pre-existing bollard bike racks like you see there in front of the Ledge building. I was asked to be a juror July 14th at the Circus 24-hour mural marathon, an incredible event. Of course, it's the first time I was there, but artists from all over northern Nevada. The winner was Anthony Ortega, his piece up there on the upper right-hand corner. I can't believe he did that in 24 hours, starting from just a blank wall. This wall is about 20 feet wide by about 16 feet tall. I'm commissioning him to make a canvas backdrop with 3D elements for our digital photo booth for the Capitol Collage, that one night only event. The prize that Gina Carrero, there on the far left, gives, she runs the show there at the hotel for this event, is $2,000. And in speaking with Joel, I think this is a great marketing opportunity for next time to grow, to develop more, to develop Carson City's impact on the arts itself, is for us to partner with her in offering, maybe the winner next year does a commission here in Carson, maybe the winner there gets a mountain bike, but using that as a platform really to advertise ourselves. On the 18th, I was invited to the Washoe Valley Garden Club. I had no idea that there was a pocket full of about 45 art enthusiasts out there. I walk into the room and they made this for me. My 30-minute presentation turned into an hour and a half with Q&A. On the 21st, the International Film Festival, which was a new RAC grantee this year, stopped by the office. This year, in 2018, February 2018, they're going to be putting together another 3 films to be shown here at the Bodrick Theater. They think that they're going to kick off their first one with a Spanish-speaking film. They wanted input from our office, and I was thinking that's another great opportunity for us to do some radio wave advertising in Spanish to promote their film. On the 27th, I met with my colleague from the board member from the Nevada Arts Council, Ryrie Valdez, and she had worked with our city manager and mayor on putting together this event. On October 1st, we are going to have a 47-foot Vietnam Huey helicopter. This is in, let me just read it for you. I gave everyone one of these, and there are a couple at the door. Light Horse Legacy is an organization focused on supporting Vietnam vets with post-traumatic stress, and inspired by the 50th anniversary commemoration of the Vietnam War. This 47-foot contemporary sculpture painted by Steve Maloney will make its way here. after a weekend being displayed at the Nevada Museum in Reno. We're also going to be showing a film here for free. I'll have more news on that. That'll be October 1st as we progress. The Adams Hub and the Boys and Girls Club put together a think tank of youth over the summer, and they reached out to me wanting to see what kind of problem solving they could do for the arts and culture here in Carson. Other clients, so to speak, were the Adams Hub, Dutch Brothers, and the Union. So what I challenged them to do was I gave them a tour of all of our contemporary murals here. There's 5 of them that have been made in the past 1 year. This is Abner Rivera, who did a presentation at a cultural commission last month, and challenged them with seeing what we have as assets and coming up with suggestions for our 6th mural, suggestions on who it could be by, where it could be, and what the theme could be. That's Bryce's mural finished there in the background. So on August 9th, just as I'm showing you a PowerPoint, they gave me a PowerPoint with some of their suggestions, and there I am at the Boys and Girls Club. On August 1st, I gave a presentation to the Parks and Rec committee here, just on an update of where we are with the Michelle Riley piece. Going over, why the placement here in the outside of the community center is so important. Da Vinci was a creative problem solver. I think we problem solve a lot of, we do a lot of problem solving here in this room creatively on a daily basis. Eric Klug said this was the highest trafficked resource for Parks and Rec. And of course, being strategically placed across from the library, that opens up such events as Da Vinci Days and STEAM and STEM events. This is a photo shoot I took with Kat. This is Dana Foltz from the Siren Society in Reno. And these are a couple of shots that we were taking. And this will be dropped in via Photoshop on that program cover. I may have spoken earlier about the Buffalo Creek Art Residency in Gardnerville, a couple of miles south of us. They had an open house recently, and Steve Hardy there is the curator, and he's bringing in all these different artists, and met Douglas Pryor here, who takes sheet metal and pounds them with a series of little mallets that he has there on his table into these fascinating three-dimensional forms. And I think this is another professional, connection that I've made that we can use as we could do content writing on this, take a video camera down there and shoot, what Carson City has access to, bringing these artists to Carson City, just as we, could for St. Mary's, putting together events. I think next week we'll be hearing of the new executive director for the Nevada Arts Council. They, of course, are not only our neighbor upstairs at 716 North Carson, but a collaborator in what I do on a monthly basis, and I was part of that ED search last week in Reno. There are 3 candidates from Reno and 1 from out of state. Mia Hannock is the ED of the Tahoe Public Art, and you may have met her at our table at the NAC's 50th anniversary party. But this is a piece in Tahoe City that I went to visit. Mia is interested in doing some placemaking around the lake of public art. She stopped by in the office, and of course, Carson has waterfront property there. And I think in the next year or 2 to come, we're going to be seeing a lot of connectivity around the lake using a piece like this. This is Kate Raudenbush. She's an artist I've mentioned before. She has a large piece outside the Nevada Museum of Art in Reno. And we were in the press a couple times, once for the mural, once for Michelle's. That's an odd juxtaposition of Michelle in that title. Our presentation was warmly greeted. That title had something to do with the content after I left. An ad in the Nevada magazine, and me getting on that board, and one more, which was the Nation's First Focus, which I omitted. So that's what I've been up to the past month. Are there any questions on any of that? Okay.
No, really good presentation. Thanks, Mark. Congratulations.
Busy as well.
Yes.
And I certainly want to congratulate Mark for his appointment by the governor's office on the Nevada Arts Council. I think he'll represent Carson City, the region, and the entire state very well, and I'm sure he's taking a leadership role very quickly on that commission. So congratulations. It's important for the region and for Carson City that he's on there. Future agenda items, board, once again, we'll bring back the strategic plan. I'll be working with two of the board members throughout the next couple of weeks. We've got with us putting this meeting back to the 21st. I think we've only got about a week and a half to get everything for posting. So once again, we may have a shorter meeting for our September meeting, and let's plan on having a little bit longer October meeting. September, once again, will be a meeting that's back-to-back with the Cultural Commission. So if you want to make sure on your calendars that you plan on a pretty lengthy meeting in October, I think that would be well served.
That'll actually work, Joel, because the 11th I'll be out of town, so I'll miss that meeting. Renee will be up.
Any other future agenda items from the board? Okay, upcoming meetings, once again, our next meeting will be on the 11th. It'll be a short one for us. We went through a lot tonight, and will be followed by the Cultural Commission meeting once again on September 11th here at the Sierra Room. That's it from us.
Okay. No public comment, obviously. Any other board comments or announcements? No? Then possible action to adjourn?
So moved.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.